it's also, this disparity between technological and organic or whatever. In the Amazonian cosmovision, they call ayahuasca, it's what's the medicine, it's the mother, and curanderismo is the science. And these are vegetal technologies. There's this idea that there's validated reality, there's virtual reality, but there's also vegetal reality. And the original matrix is the planetary matrix, which they call Pachamama, or we have all these different words for. Gaia is the planetary matrix. And all these, exosomatic technological evolutions that we've had are in some ways just mimicking the natural networks of the planet, the organic vegetal internet, and so in some senses the sentience or the consciousness of the planet, I feel, knows what she's doing, and there's these waves of evolution and waves of change, and it is very curious that we get the man-made psychedelics, smack dab, around World War II, just sort of when we needed them to presage and just sort of be a psychic lubricant almost for the technological age of non-linear distributed consciousness, where in today's day and age we have cloud computing and parallel processing and all these things which are basically like magic. It's basically they're not in this linear comprehensible understanding, but they work under natural principles, but we've had to almost stretch the envelope of our minds as a species to be able to accommodate them because they were coming through. It was time for them to come through. And it's this evolutionary journey we're all on, and it seems like we're migrating to more of a sort of hive species, to this ability, as you said, to be able to feed, very soon, to have in your Google glasses everyone and their data and what's happening. And it's very, in some senses, alien, but if you look at the insect world again, it's very much getting very close to this clustering of individuality into a bioorganism. And that itself seems to be something that the planet produces. And so I believe that not just the technologies, but the resurgence of ayahuasca and the popularity of DMT in modern culture. And there's a scholar called Eric Davis who wrote the book Technosis, and he said that it's interesting that the hyper-real, flash, intense experience of the DMT experience is something that really, it was around in the 60s, but it was very rare. Nick Sand and other chemists were making it, but there wasn't the supply and the demand of it. And it's almost like the culture gets the politicians it deserves, it gets the sacraments and the drugs that it deserves or it needs at the time to nurture them to the next step. And so DMT was around, but it wasn't really resonating because it was too out there. But nowadays, in the distributed parallel processing, cloud computing, Google Glass type of world we live in, it's just, it's very complementary to the technological world we're living in. In fact, by going through the DMT experience and being sort of, distributed as a consciousness into hyperspace, you're almost ready for that technological leap in the mainstream.